Hello, I'm back, the headless YouTuber doing headless things. You know the drill. I am very excited for this video, and I actually wasn't planning to post this. I ended up moving the schedule around because this is it's just too important. So, sorry, I'm so distracted right now. So, as the title says, today I'm going to be repotting my manjula. I was gonna do this as a repot in chat, but honestly, I don't think I've ever done a video where I just repot one plant and then call it a day. And I'm hoping this video is under 30 minutes. If it's not under 30 minutes, all hope is lost for me and you will just never see a video under an hour again. But at the end of 2021, I think it was like around my birthday or a little bit after my birthday, I saw this Instagram photo from this girl. I'll see if I can find the original photo that I saw and plug it in over here. I saw this photo of this manjula from this girl who like showed a before and after of it just being on a pole, and I was mind blown and completely inspired. The only person I had seen grown a huge manjula was Craig Milgren, but when I saw it I was like, okay, well, Craig is able to grow everything big because, as I've mentioned in another video, my theory is that he's a time traveler and that's why he's so good at growing plants. But when I saw someone else do it, and I think she mentioned she was growing it in like room conditions, she just said that she got it on a pole. I might be wrong, but I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And literally, I think like that week, I took my manjula out of its pot and I got it onto a pole, and you can see it's back here. I don't want to spoil it yet unless you've already seen it on my Instagram. I tend to show things there first sometimes. But anyway, mine started as a one-leaf cutting and the leaves were about this big. And I'm gonna try and show you in the order. So this is not the original leaf, but this is the oldest leaf on this plant right now. And then comes this leaf, and then this one, this guy, this one. This was the leaf that came out that I was like, okay, I'm starting to see some noticeable size difference from like where we started and then to this. But this is like typical manjula size that I see like when I used to own a manjula. My mom owns a manjula, a bunch of friends own manjulas, and this seems to be like the sort of standard size, especially if you let them trail. And then came this leaf, and it's a little bit smaller than the one before, so I was like, dang it, like we're going back. But then the newest leaf came out, and this freaking monster appeared out of nowhere. And like, it's hard to show the size of this thing, but like, let's say relative to my index finger, where we started and where we're at. So I've actually never seen a manjula this large in real life before. So I'm like just really excited like to actually be seeing some noticeable size growth. You'll see that it is on the world's most pathetic pole, but in my defense, I actually got it on this pole when it only had like maybe 2 leaves. So I was like, oh, I've got plenty of time. It's not gonna outgrow this thing very quickly since this one is sort of a slower grower, but we are there and this thing has got to go. So I'm actually really excited to make a new pole for this and just kind of see it beef up even more. This is definitely going to be one of my passion projects this year, or one of my goals this year is to just see these leaves get really big, and I'm very determined to do it. Why is it so dark? I'm gonna move over this way a little bit. Why wasn't I here to begin with? Okay, so yeah, like I said, this one is just going to be one of my projects this year. I'm really gonna baby it. I want to see these things beef up. I just never really thought that like I had the capability of doing it, but now I'm seeing it in action and I'm determined. I was going to get this on a lazy moss pole, but I think I'm gonna opt for a half moon moss pole just because those ones are a little bit more sturdy and I feel like it'll have slightly more support than a lazy pole, and that one will stay damp a little bit longer. I'm not quite sure sort of what I plan to grow this in long term. Right now it's in my Mars Hydro tent, but I don't know if I want to move it into the EXO behind me or if I want to keep it in there. Not quite sure yet, but I do know that I need to get it on a pole like 4 times this size. And because I'm out of soil, I think I'm going to transition this to Passive Hydro and get it into Lechuzepon and perlite. I'm very nervous because the last thing I need right now is rotted roots from a bad transition, but I have done soil to pond before. I just did it recently with one of Erin's plants, so fingers crossed. So yeah, let's just get started. I think I have everything that I need for the most part. I have my prepared pon and perlite. This is the vessel I'm going to be using. I have everything I need to make a D-shaped pole. So I think I'm going to do that first before I unearth this thing. I'm not going to be putting this at the very bottom of the pot. I am going to raise it a bit, so I might add like a bamboo stake to like keep it up, but let's see. Plant is in here. Yeah, okay. I am gonna do it on a stake just so that I have a little bit more pole to work with. I wanted to get that part out of the way before I started blabbing my mouth, because then this would have been an hour-long video again. So here's where I'm at right now. This is the backing of my pole. This is the front, and you would have seen I was just making some marks, and that's where I'm going to zip tie in this net to the plastic back. My brain. Oh, okay. I have to go this way. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Why does this not feel right to me? I've only made one of these poles before, so why does this not feel right? Hold on. If you missed it in any of my other videos, I mentioned that Alice does an actual tutorial on this moss pole on her channel, and yeah, they're great poles. I still prefer the lazy pole because for me it's a bit easier to assemble, and I don't know, I really like the way they look without needing to use this netting. But these are great if you're working with larger plants and like plants that need more stability. They're also great for self-watering, and I am a fan of both of these poles, but I've never had to remove a plant from one of these poles before, so I don't know if it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna have to be like dismantled because it's gonna go through this netting and go through the back. I imagine that maybe you'll just need to disconnect one side of the zip ties to just open it up and then get everything out. But one thing that I really like about the lazy pole is that, like, besides having to remove the straps or the Velcro or whatever you're using to secure it, there's really no need to like take apart anything. And that was kind of my goal, was like, I just hated the process of removing plants from a moss pole. I was like, there's gotta be an easier way than this. People did mention in comments that they would much rather just use like a bamboo stake or like a piece of wood, and that's totally fine. You guys do what works for you, but I personally really love seeing all the like roots that form inside of here. I feel like you can get a much more robust root system along the stem and be able to fertilize the roots better that way. And that's just my preference, so it's really whatever you want to do. There's no right way. I do have a lot of work to do this weekend, but I think that I'm gonna get some more spring cleaning done. I've already like made really good progress in the apartment. I cleaned out like 3 closets last weekend, and we were able to like donate and throw away a lot of stuff, and it just feels so much better. But I think now I need to go through my clothes. You know those clothes that you've just held on to for so long because you just are so used to seeing it in your closet, even though you know you're never gonna wear it? I have so many of those where I'm like, but what if I need it for so-and-so, and then I never end up needing it. So I think like this year is gonna be the year where I really shave down the amount of clothes that I have, because honestly, I wear the same crap every day. Ow. There's 2 ways that you can pack this moss into the pole. You can like pack it in first and then close it and then zip tie, but I actually find it quite difficult to get the zip ties where you need them once there's moss in there, so I prefer to just close it all up and then pack it after. You'll just need some kind of like stick to poke it through, but yeah, otherwise it's really up to you. I think I'm gonna do the center one first because it's puckering. I was definitely more calculated with this one than I was the first time I made it. I could not be bothered the first time. I was like, nope, we're doing this fast. Wait a second. Wait a second. How do I get this in here now? Why can't I do this without Alice's guidance? Because like, I gotta get it in here. I feel like I'm doing this wrong. Ah! Okay, if you pop out one more time, there's going to be problems. Don't do it again. We actually got our ordered tree fern fiber in, finally. I wanted to do tree fern fiber with this one, but I won't be able to grab the tree fern fiber until probably next week. And I really wanted to get ahead of filming and not waste a whole weekend. So we'll just have to make another moss pole using that substrate. It's just too bad it can't be my beloved manjula. I love this plant so much, honestly. It was like, I'm not a huge pothos person. I used to own a really big Marble Queen pothos. I'm not even in the frame. I used to own a really big Marble Queen pothos, like it was massive. And I'm pretty sure I still have the photo of me with it, maybe. And I don't know why I got rid of it. That was like the stupidest thing ever. But I will say that I'm more of a trailing philodendron kind of person, just because I like the growth pattern of it a lot better. Like, you know how pothos kind of like curl upward and like they go like that? You know what I'm talking about. Come on. Yeah, I don't really love the way that they trail, whereas philodendrons kind of just all face forward, and it just looks so beautiful when it's cascading. Pothos, I would say, are definitely way easier to grow than philodendrons, trailing philodendrons. Besides the micans, I actually find the micans to be quite easy, and I have still yet to put a video up about my care for it. You guys are probably cringing watching this. I don't know why I'm having such a difficult time stringing this Velcro, stringing this zip ties through. I forgot what I did last time. Maybe she punched holes like on the side. Luckily my hand is small enough to fit in here. Like I could literally stick my whole arm in here. But you know what, we're making it work. And this is why you need to go watch Alice's tutorial, because otherwise if I did a tutorial, you guys would be all shoving your hands through a moss pole and I would have a lawsuit on my hands for plastic cuts all over your arm. And I don't have a lawyer. Ah! So even if I did it wrong, I still managed to do it. So I feel like I should get some kudos for that. That took way too much effort on my brain. I'm actually feeling quite nervous about this transition. I'm not usually nervous, but I've just been like so invested in this manjula growth thing that I would hate for the rots, I would hate for the roots to rot and then have to pretty much start over again. But we're gonna put good vibes into the universe and stop saying things like rot, even though I just said it again. I am quite curious to see what this root system looks like. It's kind of been a while since I've like seen what's in here. I can see some roots on the edges and some roots coming out the bottom, but you never know. So as usual, it's gonna have to be dismantled, and it's fine because I was not planning to reuse this anyway. I will reuse the moss that's in here though. Ew. Yeah. A dirt wad just flew at me. Come on. OMG. Why don't you wanna? If you don't, I'm... You guys... Annoying. Man, my arm's on fire now. It's like performing surgery. So much work just to take off such a tiny little pole. But the good news is, this looks beautiful. So what I'm doing now is just soaking it in 50-50% water to hydrogen peroxide. And I like to do this before I transfer something from soil to passive hydro. You can see all the little bubbles just kind of working its magic. And I just find that this gets it nice and clean, removes any like bad bacteria that might be on there, and just preps it for being in a more water-based substrate. It has been about 20 minutes now, and there's still a bit of soil left on the roots, but it should be fine. So just giving you sort of a closer look at this manjula. Oh, I broke a root right here. Poop. That's okay. I've got lots of aerial roots starting to form along this stem, which is great. If you look where we started, the stem was about this thick, and then up here it is not much thicker, but it's definitely thicker than down here. And that's kind of how you know you're gonna start seeing some leaf size growth on your plant. So that's exciting. Not exciting that I broke this root though. What's new? Ah, why me? Okay, let's just worry about that later. Now I want this stem to be touching here. So let's go like that. No idea if you can see this in the viewfinder, but I really need to focus. Okay, let's go like this. Yeah. Oh no, my Myco. Oh no. Oh no. I gotta take this whole thing with me. Crap bag. Ah! Don't fall. Oh my word, I almost dropped the whole thing. That could have been so disastrous. Now I need to get this open. Get this open. I'm just gonna use my mouth. That's what she said. I think Myco powder went in my mouth. Okay, I'm gonna sprinkle this on the roots. Okay, now I need to secure this onto here, and I think I'm gonna opt for a clear strap. Okay, don't fall. I feel like this should be the right size. So now I'm just going to add some moss to the top to stabilize this thing. Usually when I top my vessels, I use a batch of soil that's not as clean and new as the ones that I use for my poles or that I use for rooting and stuff. I try and always keep them separate so that I know which one is newer and which one is older. So I use older moss for topping since it's purely just to help stabilize poles, to create a barrier between like the air and the substrate, like if you want to deter fungus gnats and stuff. While this plant is getting stabilized on this pole, I am going to use a very thin piece of Velcro down at the bottom just so that the aerial roots are making contact with the pole. Just because I don't really want this plant to be too shocked in terms of like the repot and then not having that pole to climb. So I just want to make sure the roots are facing the right way. It should be this way. I'm gonna see if I can make something a little bit tighter. I'm just gonna cut an extra slit here. And see if we can secure it this way. Ooh, I think that's too tight now. Definitely want it to be straight on here because if it grows off at an angle, it's going to try and grow around the pole. Last few notes about this soil to pond transition. Since it did come from soil, I'm actually not going to be adding water right away. This pond is recently washed, as is the perlite, and perlite retains a little bit of water. So I'm gonna let it go overnight without having any water. It will have a tiny bit of humidity in there already. You can kind of see it against the walls of the vessel. I'm just gonna kind of let it get used to this new substrate. I don't wanna like flood it in water right away, but first thing tomorrow I will add water to it. I'm just gonna start a little bit lower. So typically if this was a plant already in passive hydro, I'd probably add water to about right here. But I think about for the first week to like week and a half, I'm gonna go a little bit lower than that. And then as I see new roots forming, I'll keep letting the water line get higher and higher. But for now, I think this is all the stress this little thing can take, and let me give you a better view of it. I'm so happy with it. I feel like this pole like really allows the leaves to be shown now. Like they're all kind of facing forward, and you can just see how much bigger this leaf is in comparison to the other ones. And I'm in love. I love this plant so much. Pole is still a little bit wobbly. I could add like a rock underneath to stabilize it a bit, but since it's just gonna be in my greenhouse and I'm not gonna be moving it around a ton, besides when I take photos of it, I'm not super worried about it wobbling around. It's not ideal, but yeah, it'll be fine. Here is the half moon pole. As I mentioned, I did construct this wrong, but somehow was still able to make it work. But at least I'll know for next time. I am estimating that this plant will outgrow this pole in, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 months. I say 6 months until it's all the way at the top. And this vessel is actually pretty big, so I think I probably won't even need to repot. I'll probably just extend this pole, and I've never done a half moon pole extension before, but I will definitely do it on video so you can see me epically fail again. But otherwise, that is it from me and manjula. This was a very quick repot. I just kind of wanted to document the very beginning stages of this, since this is a project I'm going to be taking you along for, and I just wanted to show like kind of where we started. I wish that I showed the video of when I got it onto that little teeny tiny pole, just so you could have seen like kind of where I started as a cutting, but I think that this is a good start. It's still a wee little baby. Hopefully the next time I show you this plant on this channel that these leaves will be even bigger. If you're thinking about getting your manjula on a pole, please do it. I have always said that manjulas looked so much more beautiful when they're trailing, but just because of how beautiful these leaves are, it's like, imagine them like this big. This big. Yeah, this is one plant I'm going to be watching like a freaking hawk. But anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you for tuning into a quick repot with me, and hopefully you learned a little bit about soil to pond transition. I know I didn't get into it a lot, but that was sort of kind of just like a minor part of this video. I really just wanted to show you the setup that I got my manjula on, if you guys were thinking about also trying to size your manjula up. And if you do try and size your manjula up, please tag me if you're on Instagram. I would love to see everybody's progress. I feel like there's a few people who are trying to size up their manjulas this year. Jing and Alice are 2 of them. So this year should be interesting. So I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps Pudgeonize visibility a lot on YouTube. I hope that I was able to deliver a 30-minute and under video at the request of some people. I know that there's a lot of people who love the longer videos, but there are also other people that kind of wish I had shorter videos up. So fingers crossed again. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to me, all the love on a weekly basis, all of the likes, all of the support, and I will see you in the next one.